No, no. Can you see that? Welcome everyone, this is Linda Joy Benn, and today's webinar is on Pellowah Healing technique. And what we're going to run through is the benefits of Pellowah and how it helps you to shift your consciousness and expand your awareness. And especially in the last few years, since a lot of people, a lot of humanity have woken up on the planet. This is a really exciting time. This is a tool that I learnt 19 years ago from my teacher when it was first brought to the planet. And when I learnt it, it absolutely expanded my consciousness as well as my awareness and increased my intuition as well as everything else that I was doing with my work. So you're in the right place if you want to connect to your higher self. And this is where you are in direct communication with source energy, especially if you're looking for those answers. If you're struggling or suffering with emotional or physical pain, or if you want more clarity on your direction in your life, and you just ask and you shall receive. Also, if you're overcoming or have any health issues, stress, anxiety, trauma, depression, and maybe you're here because you want more balance, freedom, and happiness in order to thrive in your life. So a little bit about me. I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years. And over the years, I've studied and practiced a number of different techniques with several leaders in their field and had my business for over 20 years. Started in 1999. I've healed myself of a few major health issues like autoimmune and cancer. And this is why I created my BENN Method as well as my 5R renewal program. But even when I was working with clients, then this goes back to when I met my teacher, and she's the one here, the two of us, that's Kachina, who actually channeled the Pellowah Healing. And she is the one that brought it to the planet. She was doing it for many years on clients. And then Spirit said to her, you have to start teaching this because the consciousness of the people on the planet are now ready. Now, that was back in 2004. So, but if you think back to 2004, I think there was only like 2% of people who were ready and willing to actually look at, more of the metaphysical world and quantum physics. And so in 2005, I took it to the US. I was teaching workshops here in Australia, as well as all throughout the US, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and traveling back and forth. And then in that time, I ended up deciding to move to the US in 2010, and I lived there for 7 years. But also, what I noticed is all the presentations that I've done over the years, there was only a very small percentage of people who really truly understood what I was talking about. Because when you shift consciousness and expand awareness and connect all 12 strands of DNA, it absolutely changes your life. And like I said, in my business, I was doing more of the body work, energy work, and healing and hands-on work. When I learnt the Pellowah, what I noticed with all the different techniques I did for people, it heightened and increased my intuition. I actually then went more into the psychic surgery and the somatic healing and being able to work on a much deeper level, as well as channel profound messages for that person on the table. And so it just took my skills to another level. And as well as it completely changed my life. At the time, I'd just come out of a dysfunctional relationship. This is in 2004, prior to meeting Kachina. And at the time, I was considering going back to this person. And as Kachina said, well, you can, but in 12 months' time, same end result. So I did the Pellowah Healing training, and from that day on, my whole life just catapulted forward. And then I was just traveling, teaching throughout Australia, through the US, meeting amazing people. And I just felt completely fearless, unstoppable. It was like I was on fire. And this was a modality that really resonated with me, because I was having clients come saying, oh, this hurts, I got pain here, and all these parts of their body. And then they'd walk out feeling absolutely fantastic. But then the next time they came, they'd recreated that pain. And it was like, interesting. Let me go deeper into the root cause. But when I learnt the Pellowah, it was like, wow, this is a modality that actually shifts consciousness, because you can't fix a physical body with the mind that created it. So it just made sense that teaching people to shift their consciousness, then they don't have to focus on the pain in their body or the illness or what's going on in the physical body. It's all about the mind that created it in the first place. So it really resonated with me, because at the age of 21, I created cancer. And this was back in 1990 when I met my spiritual teacher in California, when I was traveling and backpacking around the world. And he helped me to understand why I created the cancer, why I chose my family and all the roles that we were playing, plus what my purpose was, and about the mind-body connection, and how we are the creators of our experience, of our reality, of everything that we bring into our life, as well as the illness and disease that we create in our life. So I take full responsibility for the diseases I created. And I've been at rock bottom, but I've healed myself medication free, because I knew that medication wasn't the way in order for me to heal my physical body. And it's like, just bring through my guidance to help me to heal my body. So Pellowah is a tool that, like many different healing modalities, is amazing. But the difference, and I'll go into the difference as well, because I am also a Reiki master. So I'll later on, I'll explain more about the difference. Over the years, I've met some amazing people, a lot of different celebrities, also interviewed Dr. Phil, where we share the same philosophy that your thought affects your physiology in your body. And so this is something that I definitely, believe in, and still teach in all my workshops today. To change your thinking, you change your life. I've had a lot of different teachers over the years. This is just a handful of the teachers. Some of them you may recognize, and a couple of them have passed over. But yeah, there's many more amazing teachers that I've met over the years. So what is Pellowah? It's an angelic word for radical shift in consciousness, because that's exactly what it does. It shifts consciousness, expands awareness, and it helps you to just expand your imagination. So you've got this unlimited imagination. Some people walk around with these blinkers on and this tunnel vision, whereas when you take those blinkers off, you've got all this whole peripheral vision of your life and the world, and you really appreciate the beauty of everything in your life, as well as expand what is possible and the new opportunities and all the good things that you can create and manifest and bring into your life. So this is where you take charge of your life, as well as just wake up feeling positive and alive and excited about all the adventures ahead every single day. It just expands your whole perspective, because you see things through different eyes. You know, after the workshop, we do level 1 day and level 2 the second day. After the last meditation that we do on level 2, when you open your eyes after you've connected to your higher self, your eyes are different. You can physically see it in people's eyes after the workshop. It's amazing. And I'll show you a couple of videos on that. And the other thing that is wonderful about receiving this healing is it increases over time. It's not just a one-off healing. It actually keeps getting stronger over time. And then you just keep building on that and building on that. So it is called a healing, but it's more of an enlightenment modality. And the purpose of the healing is to empower you, and it increases your personal capacity for positive change so that you can achieve your highest potential. You know, we all came here for this soul's mission, for a purpose. And when you can actually really tune into why you're here on this earth at this time, what your purpose is, because that's why we're all here, and it has to be meaningful. And this purpose and clarity comes when you really tap into your true authentic self, of what brings you joy and what excites you, what makes your heart sing on a daily basis. So it's also about making better choices in your life, because the only difference between you and everyone else out there is the choices that you make. And so this is another byproduct of what Pellowah does when you shift consciousness. And it's so simple, but yet so powerful. One of the reasons I particularly prefer it and love it is because it's 100% pure energy direct from spirit. There's no middleman. So I also, do Reiki, and so Reiki comes down from source, down through the practitioner, down through their body, and anything that they're going through their filters, and then out through their hands. Now, if that practitioner is going through some personal stuff of their own, well, what could be coming out of their hands could be contaminated. And this is where I've gone to, different healers over the decades, and they've all made up a story, and some of it resonated, but some of it didn't. And then, but for vulnerable people, they actually take on whatever the person's saying as gospel, and it's not always 100% correct. What I love about Pellowah, it's 100% pure energy direct from source. So when you're on the table or when you're receiving a healing, it's not getting channeled through the practitioner. Just imagine a glass cylinder direct from source, and it's going over your body. And there's no filters, no middleman, no personalities, and definitely no ego. If the ego comes in from the practitioner, it will stop. You can feel it in your hands. It automatically stops. So that's one of the reasons why I much prefer it. Though also when I'm doing a Reiki healing, I absolutely make sure that I cleanse myself and also have my healing masters helping me through a healing to make sure that the person is receiving 100% pure healing, but then I'm involved. So it always, this is where I use my filters on what's coming through. And this is really important when you go to people, different practitioners. So just quickly about the auric field, we have layers of energy around our body, and they all represent different levels around our body. So the 7th layer is the spiritual, then the emotional, and then down to the physical. So information is coming down through these layers. Now, if we are ignoring this information, well, then it just builds up like a snowball. And then if you keep ignoring it, well, then it will manifest somewhere in the physical body, which will create an illness or disease, or you may end up in bed with the flu or a cold or something. If you've ignored the message, it will actually stop you. Spirit will intervene and go, you're not listening. So now you're going to be laying in bed for a few days in order to rest your body if you've been ignoring those messages. So like I said, Pellowah is an angelic word for a radical shift in consciousness. It connects all 12 strands of DNA ready for activation, and it also unblocks and realigns the meridians in your body, which are those invisible lines that run through your body, which you also have the acupuncture points, acupressure points that run along these lines as well. And this is our chi and our life force energy. And so if you're looking at Eastern medicine and all the Chinese medicine, that's where acupuncture comes from. They talk a lot about the chi and the energy and the life force that's coming out. This is where Qigong and Tai Chi and those types of things, because it's like we are energy beings. We have so much energy surging through us on a daily basis. It's like we are so powerful, just we don't realize it or don't give us believe it, most people. So this is all helping you to connect to your true self. Now, if you can imagine a house that's got 2 rooms, sorry, it's got 12 rooms, but only 2 of the rooms were actually wired up with the electricity. So this is the 2 DNA that for many decades science said, humans only have 2 DNA, but it's not true. We actually have to connect the 12 strands of DNA first, and there's many more. But just imagine this house that's got only the 2 rooms that are wired up with the electricity. That's what humans have been operating on for centuries. So when you actually wire up all 12 rooms, then what the Pellowah is helping you to do is turn on those light switches. So that's where the attunement comes in. And this is when you receive a healing, it's the growth. It is all about your personal growth, but you don't go through the big cathartic traumatic breakdown in order to have a breakthrough. You actually build on your positive frameworks without going through the trauma. And so everything about Pellowah is all about moving forward in a positive direction. There's no big cathartic breakdowns. It's like I said, it's very simple but powerful. It can also be given by doing a distant healing or in person, and also pets and plants. They love it. They just don't need an hour treatment. You can do just 5 minutes and do a lot of healing for your pets and plants. And I've had birds fly in, and I've just done 5 minutes on a bird with a broken wing, and then it flew away. So there's a lot of new upgrades and different perspectives that you will receive when you're receiving the healing, and it's subtle, so it will actually happen over time, but it gives you a whole new perspective on life, and you make better choices and decisions in your life. So if you're at a crossroads and you're wondering, oh, do I go down this road or do I go down this road? Well, when you get to the crossroad, you just feel and you know exactly which road is for your highest good and destiny. And that's how it helps you to make clear choices. And you just know this inner knowing. And then your whole life is more objective. So just talking about how subtle it is, many years ago, I was traveling to all these different towns here in Australia, and I went to one town where I knew people, and it was a huge centre. And so that was the venue which I was teaching at. And then the next time I went, any students from the previous classes could actually come and get another attunement. And the man who actually owned the venue said, wow, this lady has changed so much. And I said, well, because it had been a couple of months since I saw her, and she was happy and joyful, and, you know, and that's how I knew her. And he said, oh, anytime that she would come to a previous workshop in the past, she wouldn't talk to anybody. She'd leave straight after the workshop, and she absolutely never hugged anyone. Whereas that was a different person that I experienced, because she was happy and she was dancing around and hugging everyone, and she was just like having the time of her life. Anyway, I said to her, have you noticed a difference since you've done the workshop and how you're being now? Have you noticed any difference? And she went, yeah. She said, it's so subtle that it's like she realized that she was just happy and just joyful, and also planning all these adventures. She went on holidays and weekends away, and went to Egypt, and went on, you know, all these trips away, which she'd never done before. So it really opened up and expanded her whole life. And she was actually just a joy to be around. So this is how subtle it is. But also, one of the other things, and I'm just looking, you're less involved in other people's lives. So that means, you know, all the drama and chaos, you know, there's a lot of it happening in our lives right now. I'm sure you could agree, though you're less involved. It's like not interested, and you just focus on high vibration activities and people, and you spend time with those who you enjoy being around. The ones that are not gossiping and bitching and whinging and complaining, and so all that's a lower vibration. Even some conversations, it's like, okay, time out, let's change the conversation. So this is where the Pellowah, it's very subtle, but you just notice changes in you, which is upgrading you to the new you, and then that becomes normal. and the light within you just keeps expanding and growing. So if you're interested in experiencing a healing, I can do this either in person or by distance. It doesn't matter where in the world you're located. We just organize a time where you're going to be laying in bed for 1 hour, and then I can actually do the healing. After the healing, dreams will be more vivid. You'll get those ahas and the downloads and the insights, and the clarity will come through. I absolutely really recommend journaling. And so you can book by my website. Just go to lindabenn.com and Pellowah Healing. You can book an individual session there, and just find a time on my calendar. There is also a special package that includes my BENN Method training, if that's of interest to you. Or if you'd like to book a clarity call, we can actually have a chat. And so when you have a healing, I call you right before I start the healing. Then we turn all devices off, and then I check in with you a couple of days later. And so that's how I work with my clients. And because a couple of days after, whatever the problem was or whatever the challenge was prior, it's disappeared. And what it looks like when I'm doing a healing, it's an off-the-body healing. There's no talking, there's no touching, there's no music, there's no incense, no interruptions. This is why I say turn off all devices, get away from your computer, go lay down in bed, put an eye mask on, close the drapes, and just receive. You may go to sleep during the healing. And if you do that, that's when spirit does their deepest work. So it's okay. Don't resist it. My first healing, I slept for 45 minutes or something. And then I woke up and it was like, oh, that was a nice little nap. And so everyone's different. Even people who think they're not sleeping, they're snoring their heads off. So every healing is a different experience, and wherever you have finished off from one healing, you just start and pick up for the next healing. So what's the difference between Pellowah and Reiki? And really, it's Pellowah is non-physical. And there's no touching. Like I said, it is 100% pure energy direct from source, and it's not channeled through the practitioner. So if the practitioner starts to do something, or if their ego comes in, the energy will stop. And I've had this happen in different workshops, where they were Reiki trained or other things. And this one particular lady said, oh, it stopped after 20 minutes. And it's like, no, it doesn't just stop after 20 minutes. Well, she started doing something else. So it's like, we'll go back and start all over again. And it's because with the Pellowah, there's no ego, no judgment. We don't diagnose. We don't make comments. We don't make up stories. We don't make up some story about, oh, it must be this or whatever. It's like, no, don't project your stuff onto anyone. It's like, it's between the person on the table and spirit. Spirit know exactly what they're doing and what the person needs and what's priority for that person. It's got nothing to do with you as a practitioner. Reiki is more earth-based. So Reiki is hands-on. You can actually give Reiki to yourself. And really with your intention, whether you've been attuned to Reiki or not, you can just rub your hands together like this and just separate them. You can feel the energy in between your hands and then give that energy. That's how powerful you are. So whether you've been Reiki trained or attuned or do the symbols or whatever, well, it's like you can already self-heal yourself. So just know that Reiki is more earth-based. Pellowah is more of an enlightenment modality that shifts consciousness. The healing part of the physical body is secondary. And so there's always byproducts of the healing. Now, let me play this quick little video for you.
Stage 1 and 2 with Linda Benn. It was an enthusiastic weekend. We learned a lot about energy transfer and enlightenment. I got a lot of good energy out of it over the weekend. I slept better last night. I woke up this morning and I could actually read the texts on my phone on an email without having to use glasses. So that was a big wake up for me. Today, in the stage 2, I had the spiritual self come down into me. I had a lot of lights going on the inside of my eyes, but the main thing that I've taken away with it is that it has shown me more direction, given me a better vision of what my future is and where I'm supposed to go and what I'm actually supposed to do on this earth. So I'm going to be actually able to use that now to move forward in life and have a better direction of which way I need to go. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so on my website, you can check out other testimonies from decades. You know, like I said, I've traveled all throughout Australia and the US, and there's a lot of students who have had amazing results. And so on my website, there's a lot of other testimonies, but everyone has a positive result. Not out of everyone I've done healings on who have come to the workshop, no one's ever gone backwards. That's just not how it works. So the difference between a healing and an attunement, I'll go into that, but let me just share this video of another lady who did the workshop.
After doing my Pellowah level 1 training, I was home last night pretty exhausted and I had great sleep. So I woke up today feeling great. I was just telling Linda a story. I was putting on my moisturizing cream this morning and I had this sudden urge to just love myself. It was just this touch that I'd never been able to give myself before. And I ended up standing for about 5 minutes massaging my head and my face and my neck, and it was like this energy, this love, this feeling was just pouring out of my hands into myself. And I honestly believe in that 5 minutes I give myself more love than I have in 35 years. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty great and highly recommend it to anyone else that wants to feel the same. Thank you, Linda.
So the difference between a healing, let me just go back.
Right.
Is a healing on the table is an amazing experience, like I talked about before. The attunement is 10 times stronger than an actual table healing. And so if you want to do the workshop in the level 1, you actually receive an attunement as well as a healing. So you do a healing on each other, and it's like you're getting 10 table healings plus give and receive a healing on the day. And then level 2 attunement is 10 times stronger than level 1. But I'll show you another slide that explains it much clearer. But it's a transfer of energy. Now, this is another difference with Reiki and Pellowah. Reiki is very much about the symbols, and you do symbols on everything to set up the Reiki. whereas Pellowah is more focused on the attunements. So tomorrow I'll be seeing Kachina, who's still my teacher today, nearly 20 years later, and I go to see her for a level 3 attunement. So you're constantly upgrading your consciousness, and so every time I receive an attunement, it just keeps taking me to another level. And this is what I do for my students as well. I give them 5 level 2 attunements in one go, not at the workshop, but anytime they want an upgrade. So that's how I do the attunements, and anyone who's done the workshops in the past can book in for a time. Now, I mentioned this, Pellowah was not brought through as a healing technique, more of as an enlightenment technique. There's a bunch of different healing techniques out there. I'm always learning about new ones that are being brought through. And so, you know, Pellowah is not the be all and end all. What I recommend to people is feel into what resonates with you, and you know, and tune in to what feels right for you. So the healing part of the Pellowah, that's the byproduct. So the people with tumors and cancer and major diseases in their body, the fact that clears up is because consciously they got the message and the understanding of the root cause of why they created it in the first place. That's why the tumor actually clears up, because they have gone through, they have the understanding, they have the forgiveness, whatever it is for that individual. And once they have that, their whole life changes perspective. So of course, if they're got an illness or disease in their body, well, it will automatically heal, because that's what the body does automatically. That's how powerful you are. So why choose Pellowah? If you're here on this earth at this time, you're here to fulfill a mission, but on a much higher level. So every being on this earth decided they wanted to be here at this particular time. And because you felt as if you had something to contribute to the universe and to your own evolution. And for some, it's just taken many, many lifetimes. I know for myself, when I felt into the Pellowah, it was like, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And that's why I was so excited about, you know, traveling all over the world, sharing it. Though 20 years ago, most people thought I had 2 heads and from another planet. So, but that's okay. I'll just share this quick little testimony from this lady.
Day one workshop yesterday, and I decided that I had a little bit of a project at home that I could work on, which was my plant that was slowly dying, and I thought, well, I'm going to use the Pellowah on it, and what I found was, as soon as I put my hands near the plant, I could just feel the energy immediately start drawing into the plant, and saw this amazing sparks within my hands to the tree and back and forth, and it just felt amazing. And I spent about 10 minutes on the plant, and yeah, I think it's amazing workshop, definitely worthwhile.
And how's the plant feeling now?
Well,
What did you notice after the healing?
I did notice it actually looked a bit greener this morning. So I'm going to keep working on it. I worked on it again this morning for another 5 or 10 minutes, and it's definitely looking like it's looking like it's really starting to work. I can feel I can see the aura coming off the plant.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. So I'll just explain a little bit about the workshop. It is 2 levels. I teach level 1 and level 2. Level 3 is only taught by Kachina. But in level one, like I said, you get the attunement that allows you to give a healing for another person. You can't give Pellowah to yourself because it is non-ego based. If you tried to give Pellowah to yourself, the ego mind will automatically go, oh, my hands are vibrating over the heart. Oh, that must mean because I was heartbroken and I'm still grieving and blah, blah. And it'll automatically make up a story, which is not true. So you have to swap a healing if you to receive a healing. Whereas the level 2, this training day is all about you. This is where we go into more about the chakras. We also learn the 7 symbols. So I'll just explain briefly about level 2 and how this actually helps you to shift your consciousness to another level. The chakras are those energy centers in our body, and it does incorporate and balance each of the chakras. Like we said, receiving a healing realigns also your meridians throughout your body. But it isn't a chakra workshop, but we do incorporate a lot of things. So the Merkaba is one of the things that we incorporate. But again, the workshop is focused on the Pellowah healing. It's not a Merkaba or Merkaba workshop. That's a separate workshop in itself. So a couple of more testimonies from different people. If you've saw What the Bleep, the movie from back in 2005 or around there, Marcy Shermoff, no, it was The Secret. Marcy was in the Secret. I met her in 2010 when I lived in California, gave her a healing. So that's her testimony there. And like I said, you can have a read on my website for other testimonies, or have an experience yourself. Book in for a healing and actually have your own experience, instead of reading everyone else's. So there is 3 levels. Level 1 is the attunement is 10 times more powerful than an individual healing on the table. Level 2 is 10 times stronger and more powerful than the level 1 attunement. And then level 3 attunement is 10 times more powerful than the level 2. So it's 100 times stronger than level 1. So it's like 1,000 healings. That's why any opportunity I get to receive another level 3 attunement, that's why it's just another upgrade. So, and because it keeps taking you to another level in your consciousness. And that's what we're all here for, is for our soul's growth and evolution. Okay, these are just some of the symbols. There's 7 symbols that you'll learn in level 2. They don't mean anything to you right now, unless you're attuned to the Pellowah. They just look like squiggly lines on paper. But I go into explaining more about the symbols and what each of them mean, but I'm just showing you quickly here. And if you are interested in the actual workshop, there's 3 levels in total. I teach level 1 and level 2, and Katrina is the only one who teaches level 3. Even if you don't want to be a teacher of Pellowah, you can still do level 3 for your own soul's growth and evolution. And it is an amazing upgrade for your soul. So the next one is in Brisbane. Oh, it looks like I didn't finish typing out Brisbane. I got interrupted. So the September the 30th is the next one, but always contact me for when the next workshop is, because I'll be teaching in different places, also traveling back to the US. So I may add those updated events to my website, or you can always send me an email and I'll let you know when the next one is. Also check on Eventbrite or Humanitex as well. So there's an early bird special of $333 per level. It's level 1 and level 2. There's 2 levels, so it's per level. The normal price is $400 per level, and the early bird is $333, which is a month before any of the workshops. If it's 2 weeks before, the discounted amount is $380. You can go to more information on my website, lindabenn.com/Pellowah Healing Training. It's under the training tab. And also, if you have any questions, you can always send me an email or book a clarity call via my website, and happy to have a chat with you, or under the individual treatments on my website under Pellowah Healing. Book a time on my calendar, and then I'll be in contact before the healing and do your distant healing. We can work out a time. So any questions, let me know. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, even if it's the replay. And I look forward to meeting you and talking to you very soon in the future. Bye for now. Many blessings.